Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go over the homework that you had just to make sure that you guys are on board with whatever it is that you're doing. And then we'll just kind of take it from there, okay? So let's start with this one. If you remember, this is called an inscribed angle because the vertex sits on the circle. And it's made up of two chords, which are AC and BC. And you're asked to find the measure of arc AB. And if you recall, an inscribed angle is equal to half of its arc, okay, of its intercepted arc, which means this guy is going to be 88 degrees. If you want to find the measure of angle X, this time you're given the measure of the arc, so the angle is going to be 45 degrees. So this is all about getting your feet wet. So over here, you're asked to find the measure of arc JK, and if you recall yesterday in the video, I said always look for any kind of arcs on the circle and check for any kind of diameters going along, because you know that the measure of arc KL, I hope you all recognize, is going to be 180 degrees. But anyway, JKL is 26, so this is your inscribed angle down here, which means the arc is going to be 52 degrees, and that makes JK 180 minus 52, which is 128 degrees. Okay? Now, it's asking you for the measure of angle Q, and if you recall, the total number of degrees all the way around a circle is 180. So we do 113 plus 118. Honey, can you do me a favor? Yeah. Can you get my calculator for me? It's on the table, I think, or it might be on the counter. Okay, so that's 360, and whatever the difference 360 minus 231 is. So that's 9, that's 5. I can't do it. I don't want to feel like doing mental math. I'm so lazy. And then, thank you, honey. So then half of 129 is going to be 64.5 degrees. So the measure of this angle is 64.5. All right, moving on to the other stuff. So right now you can see that we're dealing with, this is circle W. So all I'm seeing right here are all kinds of central angles. Because if you recall, a central angle is an angle whose vertex sits at the center. And if whatever the central angle's measurement is, his arc is going to be the same thing. So you're told that angle DWU is 58 degrees, which means its arc is automatically 58 degrees also. You're told that GWE is equal to 81 degrees, which means GE is also 81. You're told that UF is 22 degrees, which means this little arc here is also 22 degrees. And now we can go fill everything out. What you should have noticed is that UE is in fact a diameter. So the sum of these three angles should be 180. So 58 plus 81, and then 180 from that is going to give us 41 degrees, which means this is also going to be 41 degrees. And looking at over here, you should notice that these two are vertical to each other, making this 58 degrees because they're formed by these two chords. Yes, we have another chord here. dy is yet another chord. So if we do 22 plus 58, and then 180 from that is going to give us 100. So this angle is 100, which means this arc is 100. And because this angle is 58, this arc is also 58. So DWG, you can figure out what those are. So DWG, where is DWG? Oh, we already knew it was 41, right? EWY, so EWY is 58. FWY, so FWY is 100. Yeah, please go away. I hate when those things come up. Okay, a measure of arc DU is 58. GE is 81. GEY, now we get into the fun stuff. GEY is the sum of those two arcs. So that's going to be 81 plus 58. So that's going to give us 139. YFU, so YFU is 122. DFE, so if we start at D, got to swing around to F and go all the way around to E. Wow. So DFE is all of this starting here, going all the way around. So I have to sum up all those arcs. 58 plus 100 plus 22, and then plus 58 will give me a measurement of 238 degrees and so forth. Okay, so I'm not going to finish the rest of this. FWG, you should already know how to find FWG because FWG is the sum of these three angles. So it would be that, and so forth. Okay? Okay. Now let's get into some meteor stuff here. So I just want to show you that this one gets a little beefier, noticing that because this is the center, there are no central angles. So the things that we have to take a look at is if we have inscribed angles, we got to take a look at our arcs and everything like that. So if I see that this is 24, Remember what I said yesterday, you follow the ice cream scoop out. So you follow your chord out, you follow your chord out. So this arc here is going to be double that angle, so that's going to be 48 degrees right there. And if you remember from yesterday, always look at your arc and see if you can follow it back to another inscribed angle, which is right here. So we already know that this is 24 degrees. Noticing I'm not even answering any questions over there. I could care less, okay? I'm more interested in getting this diagram completely filled out so I can just go do what I got to do. I'm also told before I address this big fact right here that KRA, the arc, is 174, I also want to look at that I was told that BA is 134. So again, here's my arc. So now I'm going to follow it down to one of my inscribed angles. Remember, you don't want to stop in the middle there. You always want to go off to the circle. So half of 134, so, whoops, half of 134 is 67, so this angle is 67 degrees. And I hope you also recognize that given this arc, this is another inscribed angle over here, which I can also say is 67 degrees. I'm going to erase all these, whoops, get out of here. I'm going to erase all these lines so that way we don't drive ourselves nuts. I'll go fix that 67 in there in a minute because I just want too many lines in here. It starts to get a little too shady. So anyway, so this is 67 degrees right here. And now what's more is we could go ahead and we can find out what this angle is, this angle, this angle, and this angle because we've got our triangles here. We have triangle BKF. So if we do 67 plus 24 minus 180, you guys seeing that this is like a puzzle? So this is 89, so is this. So this is 91, and this is 91 because they're supplementary. Now we're kind of like, okay, well, how do I get these angles over here? Like, I don't really feel I have enough information. Well, bring arc KRA to the party. So arc KRA goes all the way over here, is 174 degrees. We know this part of the arc is 48, so the other arc is going to be the difference of those two, making this 126 degrees. And again, this is an arc. Go hunt down an inscribed angle, and if you did, you should have noticed that RBA is the inscribed angle to that arc. And we'll divide that little sucker by 2 to get 63 degrees right here. And what's beautiful is we have ourselves a lovely triangle here with which we can use to find that missing angle there, because we always know that the sum of the angles of a triangle is 180, making this 26. And again, this is an inscribed angle. Follow it out to its arc, which is KB, and then this is going to be 52 degrees. Now, based on all of that, you should go ahead. Notice I didn't even answer any of these questions, but I suppose that I'm going to leave it up to you guys to make sure that you have everything set and situated the way it's supposed to be, because the hardest thing is to fill out this diagram. Then when you have everything you need, you can go back in here and fill all that out. And I've stressed that at any point I possibly could have this year. So now let's move on to the last problem that you guys had to do. And again, you've got your arcs. I see a bunch of inscribed angles. Please note, these are not central angles because your center's right there. So again, we got to go and play our game of let's go find our inscribed angles and so forth. So here's my 110 right here. So if I follow it back here, F is going to be 55 degrees. The other inscribed angle that intercepts that arc is C, so he's also 55 degrees because, again, you're making that chord arc, okay? So it's always going to be that same thing. So remember, you're making that ice cream scoop when you're doing these, okay? I just have OCD, so hold on a second. All right, go back to this. So this is 55 degrees. Now, again, we're going to go over here. This is 120. I hope you realize that G is one of his inscribed angles, making that 60. E also intercepts that arc, so he is also 60 degrees. And now you can go ahead and find the sums of your angles, noticing that these two triangles are similar. That's no coinky-dink, just so you know. 55 plus 60 minus 180. And this is going to be 65 degrees. This is 65 degrees. These are supplementary, so this is 115, 115. And let's see, so now I have to figure out what B is, right? Oh, which I can. So now you're like, oh, how do I figure out what B is? Again, remember what I said to you at the very beginning when I was doing this lesson yesterday on that other video is always look for your inscribed angles and your arcs, and then always look for your diameters whenever you can find them, because right here is a really pretty diameter from here to here. So therefore, this whole arc is going to be 180, making B 60 degrees. This is also a semi-arc right here, making that guy 70 degrees. And again, I will leave it up to you to go ahead and fill in the blanks. Have a great day.